Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central today here in Kent, Ohio with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. You know everything's going to be real fine because when you hear a presentation of mine, I'm going to take you all the way up to the line and we might even cross over the line. And we'll let you know exactly what that means in just a minute. Uno minuto. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and do the needful before I have to start getting pleadful up in here. Number one, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. Number two, give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And then, most of all, make sure you spread the word far and wide about Black Facts and what we're doing over here, because we are not trying to hide. This is Doc Ock coming at you today with our proverb of the day. Proverb of the day today comes from the land of Vietnam, because even the Vietnamese play our game. That's right. It's been exported all over the world years and years and years, hundreds of years ago, if not thousands. And the proverb is, in English, one move captures Mandarin peace. One move captures Mandarin peace. Think about that one. Okay? One move, game's over. Game over. Meanwhile, today what we're going to deal with some of these misconceptions, misperceptions, notions that seem to be more like potions, because somebody seems to be trying to do a work of prestidigitation or magic on us and make us feel like one thing is happening when it's really something else. Prestidigitation, that has to do with the hand. The hand is quicker than the eye. The hand is quicker than the eye. So you got to keep your eye on the hand, because that hand can be moving things, and if you're not paying attention, you're losing out. All right. So today the topic is Ahmed's clock, Banneker's clock, and the racial surveillance of invention in America. Now, that's a heavy title. Question is, what does it mean? Well, this is a real life story. This comes right out of the news, and it's from back in around 2015 or so. So let's remind ourselves exactly what happened, and we're going to put it into the context of Benjamin Banneker. Compare and contrast with Benjamin Banneker. You can even set up a little Venn diagram if y'all know how to do that, if you remember that from school. So here we go. On with the show. While 14-year-old Ahmed Muhammad's clock and his arrest link to current histories of Islamophobia in the USA, as well as to the politics of inclusion in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math. There are other parts of this story that tap into a much longer history of race and science. Evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins claimed earlier this week that Ahmed's clock was a fraud. Also reproduced a long history of the racial surveillance of invention itself in America. In 1753, a young man of African descent named Benjamin Banneker also rose to prominence for building a clock. His creation was an impressive, striking clock crafted out of wood. Banneker was a free man who gained regional and national recognition as an almanac maker, astronomer, surveyor, and inventor in 18th century America. He lived his entire life in Baltimore County, Maryland, where he farmed tobacco on a modest plot of land. Banneker constructed his clock when he was only 22 years old, in an age in which timepieces were still somewhat rare in the American colonies. Visitors came from near and far to view a working clock constructed by a black man. The story goes that Banneker entertained an almost constant stream of visitors in his home. People who wanted to see this homemade clock and were also curious about the black inventor who made it. But at the same time as Banneker was praised for his displays of intelligence and even genius, his inventions and scientific knowledge were also viewed with suspicion and disbelief by many white folks. The barrage of visitors to Banneker's home was thus also about confirming that this man, a black man, actually made the clock himself. And in this way, Banneker's clock, like Ahmed's clock, became a site of criminalization and racial surveillance. One gets the sense that Banneker was forced to spend a lot of his time proving himself to white folks. People from around the country sent him mathematical proofs to which they expected he would respond. After Thomas Jefferson wrote about the intellectual inferiorities of the African race in his book, Notes on the State of Virginia, Banneker sent a letter to the founding father and then Secretary of State, in which he enclosed a manuscript copy of his own almanac for 1792. In notes, Jefferson said that the jury was still out on the mental capacities of black folks. He would need more proof to be convinced. Banneker's almanac stood as one such proof of the capabilities and capacities of the race. But Banneker was not just interested in proving the mental equality of Africans. He also used this as an opportunity to plead on behalf of his brethren, those men, women, and children who were unjustly held as slaves and captives in a supposedly freedom-loving republic. When President Obama invited Ahmed to the White House last week, he also echoed Banneker's story. Jefferson replied to Banneker's letter with a curt, somewhat formulaic response, but one that nonetheless helped to legitimate Banneker's scientific investigations and inventions on the national stage. He thanked Banneker for his letter and almanac and wrote, "Nobody wishes more than I do to see such proofs as you exhibit." While Obama tweeted, "Cool clock, Ahmed," Jefferson's language was ensconced in the formalities of Enlightenment rhetoric and letter writing. But there is much that connects these two pieces of correspondence, including the significance of a president, and in Jefferson's case, a future president, recognizing the achievements and potential of black inventors in the USA. The use of Ahmed's story to encourage young Muslims and children of other nationalities, religions, races, etc., to get interested in engineering and other science, technology, engineering, and math fields is a laudable one, and one that will hopefully encourage future clockmakers, astronomers, and even more. But this young man's interest in inventing, experimenting, and even tinkering at home is also part of a vibrant history of race, science, and invention in the United States that exceeds both the classroom and presidential politics. In the early 19th century, a handful of African Americans, from the revolutionary David Walker to the physician and pharmacist James McCune Smith, continued to carry on Benjamin Banneker's legacy. They memorialized Banneker's scientific achievements, wrote more critiques of Jefferson's damaging theories of race, and produced sophisticated responses to an emerging racial science in the 19th century that abetted the slave system. Largely restricted from universities, medical schools, and laboratories, they also worked on their own forms of autodidactic study and scientific experimentation, forms of invention and learning that were often explicitly linked to Black freedom struggles against slavery in the South and anti-Black racism in the North. These figures fought against the criminalization of African American experiments with science, but they also thought that science could be used to will a more equitable country into existence. In this way, we might say that Ahmed is continuing to carry that baton, linking scientific invention to the social movements of our own time. Now, it was interesting, up in this piece a little bit earlier, they talked about, what was the quote there? Nobody wishes more than I do to see proofs as you exhibit. That's a direct quote from Thomas Jefferson from his book, or his writing notes on the state of Virginia. Well, as it turns out, it sounds a lot like what was his name? Tolstoy? I think Tolstoy wrote this piece saying that I sit on a man's back, assuring everyone, including myself, that I will do everything I can to lighten this man's load, except get off his back. That's what that statement from Jefferson really went back to. Nobody wishes more than I do to see such proofs as you exhibit. All the while saying that Black folks are inferior, as he writes this letter in response to Banneker's letter about what he had said in notes on the state of Virginia. Now, there's some debate about Jefferson himself and his own racial background, and whether or not he was a Black man himself, because definitely at this time the scientists had come up with a one-drop rule. This is what 19th century, no, not 19th, this would be 18th century scientists had come up with a one-drop rule. In other words, if you had one drop of Black blood in you, that made you Black, period, dot. They didn't care what you looked like, how straight your hair was. If you had blonde hair, blue eyes, didn't matter. One drop of Black blood, you're still Black. And Thomas Jefferson himself appeared to have this one drop. He seemed to be suffering from this syndrome. And it really comes into question when we have to wonder, why did he burn all of these letters that were sent to his mother and from his mother to her friends? What is it she was saying in those letters that he did not want to be known throughout posterity? What is it he was trying to hide? Now, when we look at his relationship with Sally Hemings, that long time relationship that went on where he produced many children by Sally Hemings, to go on so far as to take those children with him to Europe and bring them back when they could have gone free, allowing some of those children to escape and never going after them, never sending the slave patrollers or the slave catchers after them. All of that brings into question Thomas Jefferson's own racial background. Was Thomas Jefferson actually a Black man trying to hide out and finding one of the best ways to hide out was to say negative stuff about black folks so that he could be held above suspicion. That's my question for the day. And that for you is your second proverb of the day. Was Thomas Jefferson actually a Clarence Thomas of his age, hiding out as a black man, pretending to be a white man by making sure that every chance he got, he said something bad about black folks? But as they always say, actions speak louder than words. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go ahead and clock out. This is Doc Ock at noon and 9, signing out. We'll be black tomorrow. So, no, we'll be black tonight for another segment. I don't know if we're going to do another one on Benjamin Banneker tonight, because we've gone through his whole biography a couple of times. So we may go on to another scientist tonight. But look for us tonight and find out. It'll be a surprise. And we guarantee it'll be a stone gas, baby. Meanwhile, peace out without a doubt to all of our listeners and followers out there, including brother Leroy Jackson. We see you out there, Leroy. What's going on? Look for us tonight. If you haven't already, make sure to give us a like on Facebook, a thumbs up on YouTube, and then go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tubular Black Facts. Peace out without a doubt, y'all. With justice, of course, because anything less disgusts us.